Live from the CBS Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is CBS2 News at 5 p.m.
Thunderstorms strike the IE, creating mudslides that wipe out a mountain road and also leave some cars trapped in the muck and others stranded. First wildfires and now wild weather.
Inland communities are dealing with another round of trouble from Mother Nature today. We have team coverage, including CBS2's Garth Kemp, with the latest on the forecast.
But let's get right to Nicole Comstock live in Mentone. Nicole.
That's right, guys. There was a massive amount of mud along the 18 this morning, as well as 3 separate mudslides not too far up the road from us here along the 38 that sent these 8 to 10 pound chunks of rock down in that debris flow. These are the smaller pieces. Take a look at that cleanup effort. Take a look at that monster of a mudslide flowing down the 18 this morning. People out there watching as bulldozers work to clear the roadway. Then here in Yucaipa, police snapped pictures of this SUV buried up to the front fender in mud and rock. Doesn't seem at this point that there were any injuries, but you can only imagine how scary that must have been to watch that mud moving toward those cars. It's been raining in parts of the mountains, neighbors tell us, for a good deal of this morning and yesterday as well. We spoke with a woman who made it past 2 of those mudslides along the 38 in Forest Falls, only to get stuck at a 3rd one for a few hours.
You have no idea. I mean, we're sitting there looking at the weather, trying to gauge that. You can't. This place has its own weather. And it's the most scariest place I've ever had to stay.
Some of this happening along 38 near where the Valley Fire sparked on Friday of last week. Now, when that first storm rolled through over the weekend, neighbors tell us that ashy mud was sliding down from that burn area. Now a more solid, darker mud flow, not coming from the burn area, but from untouched parts of the mountains that were just drenched in rain this morning. And you can expect to see those crews out here for the next several days, keeping an eye on all that mud. Live in San Bernardino County tonight, Nicole Comstock, CBS 2 News.
All right, Nicole, thanks. Let's turn now to CBS 2's Garth Kemp.
Yep, he's been tracking the conditions and has the latest. Garth?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the radar right now. Sorry for slipping back on your screen that way. Good afternoon, everybody. 79 degrees, obviously cooler downtown. Still very hot inland. Let me get past this and show you what is going on with the radar. We have multiple lightning strikes. Look at the amount of lightning that's going on off to the east right now. Boy, Havasu is really getting hammered as we speak. We continue to watch this monsoonal moisture. Not as bad as what we saw yesterday out towards certain parts of the deserts. We're not picking up any watches or warnings right now. That doesn't mean they won't come online, but if you're going out the 40, going out the 15 split, Vegas out to Havasu. Havasu and Parker have been getting hit very hard. You can see multiple, I mean dozens upon dozens of lightning strikes right out of Barstow, that road that takes you into Vegas. So they're having issues with that. Down to the south, the same thing. Heaviest of the rain of these complexes stay to the east. We picked up that heavy rain over the mountains. We were just showing you how long will this last? Will it dry by the weekend? We'll tell you all of that coming up in just a few minutes. Please be careful out to the east. Get indoors. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Garth. Well, from suspect to defendant, a local woman is charged with attempted murder in the brutal beating of a 92-year-old man with a brick.
Prosecutors say the woman also has a prior criminal record of threats.
And CBS 2's Christy Fajardo is live at Compton, where the woman just entered a plea in this case. Christy.
Yeah, that's right. Prosecutors say that LaQuisha Jones was already on probation for making criminal threats last year. Today, the judge revoked that probation, and he also set bail on the new charges at more than $1.1 million. LaQuisha Jones hides behind her lawyer in a Compton courtroom, but this image, believed to be the 30-year-old, has gone viral, and so have photos of her alleged victim. Now Jones is charged with attempted murder and elder abuse in the July 4th assault of a 92-year-old Latino man in Willowbrook.
I'm just overwhelmed of how anybody can actually do this to any human being at all. He's 92 years of age. There's no harm that he meant in general for you to treat him the way you did.
That was the victim, Rodolfo Rodriguez's grandson. The elderly man suffered broken ribs and a cheekbone. He says he had gone out for his daily walk when he bumped into a little girl. That's when he says the woman in the photo started beating him with her fists, then a brick. A witness reported some men also joined in the attack and said Jones was yelling at Rodriguez.
Go to back to your country while you're here. And bad things. When I take the picture, she say, "Oh, he tried to touch my girl."
Deputies say they didn't find evidence the crime was motivated by hate, but have not given any details on what may have prompted the attack. As for Jones, at her arraignment, she entered a not guilty plea and made it clear she wanted nothing to do with our cameras. Jones is due back in court on the 26th. Live in Compton, Christy Fajardo, CBS 2 News.
Christy, thanks. The man accused of attacking his wife with a chainsaw in Whittier has now been arrested near San Diego. Alejandro Alvarez was caught in Chula Vista this afternoon. He's accused of severely injuring his wife with a chainsaw yesterday at their home on Milton Avenue. She is expected to survive. Police found Alvarez in the same stolen blue SUV he was last seen in. We're gathering more information, and we'll have a live update for you coming up on CBS 2 News at 6.
How many times did you look so innocent into your wife's eye and lie to her about Lisa?
Mr. Chairman, this is outrageous.
What is wrong with that? You need your medication.
Fire and fury on Capitol Hill over the FBI agent caught with critical texts about President Trump while investigating the Russia scandal.
Yeah, tensions boiled over between Peter Strzok and several GOP lawmakers today.
Yeah, I'll say it did. At times, it really got out of control. CBS 2 political reporter Dave Bryan is here with the blow-by-blows between Strzok and the congressman.
To say it was fiery would be an understatement. Republicans charging, how could this guy be independent and objective about the investigation? Democrats say this is an excuse for trying to get at special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russia. The 4th of July was 8 days ago, but fireworks exploded on Capitol Hill today as the FBI agent whose private texts landed him in the public hot seat went toe-to-toe with lawmakers not happy about what he wrote.
You couldn't think of a single solitary person that was going to vote for her for president before you interviewed her and while you were supposed to be investigating her.
Congressman, clearly that's not the truth.
So you said, OMG, this is effing terrifying. I think we know what effing means. What was so terrifying about that, Agent Strzok?
Mr. Gowdy, I do not have a copy of the transcript. We have not been provided that transcript.
It's your text. It's not the transcript, it's your text.
The chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Republican Trey Gowdy of South Carolina, hammered away at FBI agent Peter Strzok over his anti-Trump texts that got him kicked off the Robert Mueller Russia investigation.
If you want to represent what you said accurately, I'm happy to answer that question, but I don't appreciate what was originally said being changed.
I don't give a what you appreciate, Agent Strzok.
Things became so heated between them that several committee members intervened to calm down Gowdy.
If you can't control yourself, how do you expect this committee to control itself? You've been out of control since you've been on this committee. Why don't you leave it alone? This is not Benghazi.
Strzok's actions were previously criticized in a June Inspector General report that said the conduct of both Strzok and ex-FBI lawyer Lisa Page, quote, sowed doubt about the FBI's work on the investigation. But the report also concluded that overall there was, quote, no evidence that prosecutors were affected by bias.
Before this hearing today, my Republican colleagues could not point to a single act that you took, Agent Strzok, in an official capacity that showed bias in any of these official investigations. Now, more than 8 hours later, they still can't point to a single official act you took that showed bias in these investigations.
Now, this hearing just ended a few minutes ago after 8 o'clock in the evening in Washington, but the issue is not over yet. A second hearing is set for tomorrow, expected in the hot seat former FBI lawyer Lisa Page, who exchanged those anti-Trump texts with Strzok. But that testimony will be done behind closed doors. Peter, back to you.
Certainly heated, Dave, thanks. Amid concerns about whether he would be welcomed in England, President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump arrived to pomp and pageantry today. Prime Minister Theresa May hosted a dinner at Blenheim Palace under tight security. Those not happy with the president's visit launched a 20-foot balloon dubbed the Trump Baby. Mr. Trump and the First Lady will have tea with Queen Elizabeth tomorrow.
The porn star who claims to have had an affair with President Trump and was later paid off to keep quiet is free and clear this evening after being arrested in Ohio. This was Stormy Daniels last night being hauled away in handcuffs from a Columbus, Ohio strip club. She was originally charged with 3 misdemeanors for inappropriate touching, but prosecutors decided to drop the case. Daniels' lawyer says something more sinister is going on.
I have reason to believe that it was politically motivated. There's no question that these officers were undercover at that strip club. They knew that my client was going to be performing there, and I find this to be a complete waste of resources.
Daniels, whose real name is Stephanie Clifford, is suing President Trump and his former lawyer Michael Cohen to get out of a non-disclosure agreement she says was meant to keep her quiet.
Well, this is the latest photo of former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort. It was snapped following his move to a city jail in Alexandria, Virginia, as he prepares for his upcoming financial fraud trial set for later this month. Prosecutors requested the move because Manafort was getting VIP treatment at a federal facility with his own phone and computer in his cell. And he didn't have to wear a prison uniform. His trial is set to start July 25th.
Developing news now, the Justice Department wants another shot at the merger between AT&T and Time Warner. Federal lawyers have appealed the judge's dismissal of their objections to the $81 billion takeover. They argue the combined conglomerate would hurt competition by limiting choices, which would jack up prices for consumers.
A pregnant mother and her unborn child killed in a hit and run. We spoke with her emotional family.
Also, it's a growing problem, scam artists posing as celebrities. The calls from several of the stars for other fans to protect themselves. Plus this.
Build-A-Bear Pay Your Age Day so successful it failed. How it led to chaos here locally and at malls across the country.